Ministers, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I'm very grateful for this opportunity to talk about what the world agreed at COP26, what we must do now, and some thoughts about approaching a complex task in an uncertain world. It's been fascinating to hear the previous speakers and other panels all day describing climate pact here. Countries of the North have a huge stake in what happens in the next few years. There's clear, visible evidence of the seriousness of the challenge that the IPCC and the researchers and scientists here have spoken of. COPs are vital to securing real progress. Each COP builds on the ones before it. COP26 owes a huge debt to Paris, Katowice, and many others. And the inclusivity of having scientists, economic and energy experts, representatives of indigenous communities and young people alongside negotiators is both necessary and effective. The high level of expectations of this broad coalition made the Glasgow Climate Pact possible. It both recognized the urgency of speeding up action and made specific commitments to cut emissions in line with the Paris Agreement's temperature controls and targets, the 1.5-degree aim, protect nature and vulnerable people, increase finance, including for adaptation, and embark on a socially sensitive, just transition from fossil fuels and clean energy. And for the first time, official texts covered fossil fuels, and especially coal. 197 countries and other parties agreed to phase down coal. 65 committed to phasing it out completely. It would have been nice to have all of us on that list, but it wasn't possible. The direction of travel, however, is set. The transition process is irreversible, and over 90% of world GDP is now covered by net zero commitments. Countries also agreed to review their 2030 commitments this year as accelerating the Paris Agreement ratchet mechanism, requiring stronger action if that's what scientific analysis says is needed. In terms of money, more public and private money, and more for adaptation, and for just and inclusive transition. Countries signed other important UK presidency declarations on issues such as zero-emission vehicles, called clean energy, forests and land use, just transition, and sustainable agriculture. These results are undeniably significant, but we will be judged by what we do next. There has been some progress this year, but not nearly enough, and we're looking at a 2.4-degree world if you implement the 2030 emission reduction pledges, and the 2050 commitments only get us to 1.8 degrees globally. It's more here, of course. Glasgow was about inspiration and commitment, and COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh will be all about implementation and credibility. We'll do what we can, so will all the partners, to press for immediate concrete action. The world needs similarly, ambitious outcomes in COP27 and COP28. It can only happen with international cooperation, and Greenland is in an excellent position to spell out the risks, realities, and opportunities. And I just want to take a second to talk about a UK-Greenland collaboration on climate change. Our help for the development of Greenland's national climate strategy, climate's prominent position in the free trade agreement we're working on, and I'm pleased today to announce that the UK is launching a new bursary program for joint UK-Greenland research projects in 23-24, building collaboration on climate change and cryosphere decline in the Arctic. The scheme will be developed in ways that empowers Indigenous communities implementers, researchers, and delivery partners, and will strengthen ties between our two countries, research communities, and boost our commitment to Arctic science ahead of the release of the UK's new Arctic policy framework later this year. Thank you.